and welcome to the history video of my Sonic OC, Trinket the Hedgehog. I created Trinket when I was about 12 or 13, so by law in the United States, she is a legal adult at 18 years old, and over the years I've had her, she's changed pretty dramatically. Once upon a time, Trinket was this no-flavor, flat, zero personality character. One I had very little artistic talent to draw, and would mostly edit images found on Google to look like her. Her design was surprisingly dynamic for the age I created her at, and you'll see later in the video how much she's changed, and yet how similar she still is. When I created her, I was still in my Sonic fandom infancy, and most of my knowledge of the series came from me playing the original games on Sega, or watching my brothers play them. Also, information fed to me from an ex-friend, so you can say I didn't really understand what I was doing with her backstory. Said backstory was pretty vague. All I can really recall is she was an orphan, became close to another orphan Flare, that will get his own history video in the future, and the pair were adopted together. And for some reason, they were adopted by another OC of mine, Shackles, which really makes no sense. But that was the backbone of her story. What else did she have in her story, you ask? Nothing. Literally nothing. Trinket existed as a self-insert just to live out my fictional fantasies within the Sonic universe. Originally, I had shipped her with Knuckles for some unknown reason. I never drew any ship art of them together, because this era was short-lived once I started reading the Archie comics and learned about Julie Sue. Then I moved on to shipping her with Sonic, which also ended quickly, and once again, never drew them together. And finally, I settled on shipping her with Manic from Sonic Underground. Honestly, Trinket and Manic stayed together as a ship until recently, as in a month or so ago recently. So there's many years worth of fan art of this pair, and even some half-baked story ideas that followed them. The main one was focused on how much Shackles hated Manic for dating his baby sister. Like, it was kinda creepy how I wrote that, and even ended with a plot where Shackles tried to attack Manic, Trinket stepping between them, and him accidentally severely injuring her. Trinket ended up with like 3 scars on her chest from the attack, but Shackles never stopped hating Manic afterwards? I don't really know where in my child mind this plot was supposed to go. Now at this point, you may be wondering more about her personality, and as stated before, Trinket didn't have one. It was literally just flavor of the week style for me, and the only kind of consistency it had, was she was kind of reserved, tomboyish, and helpless. That's it. Though, this era of Sonic fandomy for me had a bit of a turning point for Trinket, if you'd believe it. And what was this turning point? Enter Shadow the Hedgehog. Yes, just like everybody in the fandom, I shipped her with Shadow. And like her previous shippings, I had no actual thought process behind this, besides, fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want. This actually ended up with me drawing an entire 22-page comic in 2 days of these two, that never actually had an ending, and was possibly the cringiest thing I've ever drawn. It's full of bad writing, bad drawing, weird concepts, strange one-liners, and lots of copied work. It was not original at all with anything in this comic, and it's on my agenda to have some friends blind voice act for a future video, because it's so bad it's hilarious. But as I've grown as a person and an artist, Trinket has changed along with me. A few years back, she got a small design update. Like, really small. What are the changes, you ask? Her fur color is slightly different, and her eyes are a different color, and she now has earrings and some lace on her outfit. Don't mess with perfection, I guess. Though she did finally get a backstory and personality update. I was going through an era of researching mental illnesses and decided that she had DID. And I went through the process of giving her a backstory to follow it. Sean, eventually renamed to Dean, was one of her alters. She had another one named Angelica. I won't go into detail about said backstory because it deals with some really heavy stuff and wasn't very healthy for her or for me. And since this, she's had 2 more updates, and her brother got one as well. And now we sit at where she is currently. As you can see, Trinket has come a long way since her conception and has become one of my most beloved OCs. I plan on doing tons more artwork with her and even some VTuber videos with her since she's my channel mascot. Thank you for joining me on this journey down memory lane, and keep an eye out for the next OC history video. I plan on doing her brother, Flair, who is now named Luster, and Shackles, for sure. I'm not sure if I'll get to do any of the other Brotherhood characters, but Shackles is going to be a main one, because he's had a pretty interesting life changes and updates. So I'd say he's probably the most interesting character that's from this timeline. Well, I'll see you later. Kisa out.